A lot of people are still hypothesizing what is going to be the new refresh, the new big change that we bring to the Apple Watch Series 3, which is hopefully coming out this year. It might not be, we haven't heard that many leaks or rumors, but from what we are hearing, it sounds like Apple is going to be putting a larger emphasis on watch bands. Some people don't care about that because they just get the watch band that comes with their watch and they keep it, but when you think about it, the watch band is a necessary accessory to the Apple Watch, and I don't even know if you can call it an accessory because you can't really use the Apple Watch without it, and it is about 50% of what makes the watch itself, as in there's really only 5 to 6 different actual hardware variations to the Apple Watch, but the array of various watch bands is what makes the Apple Watch unique and customizable and identifiable, so you can see it in public and go, oh, he's got this kind of band. So I like that Apple in the future is hopefully going to be making it more functional. I've got a couple ideas that they can do, as well as some that I think are already being done, but whatever, I can talk about whatever I want. So first of all, before we get into the functional features, I just had a design idea. I am absolutely loving these Apple Watch Nike sport bands. They're way more flexible because they have the holes in them. They breathe a lot better so they don't feel as constraining on your wrist, as well as it's just great because your pin has so many different varying options now, opposed to just regular sport bands that just have a few holes. These, of course, have an infinite number. I mean, it's not infinite, it's just 3 times, I don't know, 20 something. It can fit very large wrists, okay? And my idea, since the Apple Watch is very much built around closing activity rings, is to have each row of holes interior color be a different color of the activity ring. Forgive me, I'm not that good at Photoshop, but this is what I came up with. Wouldn't that be a great way to be like, I put activity first, this is a fitness tracker, and it's a great fitness tracker? I don't know, it's frustrating me because they've got, you know, 3 rows of holes and there's 3 rings. It'd be perfect. You should do that, Apple. Anyway, the most obvious one I think they should do is a smart battery band. This has been a theory for a long time, and it's even been done, I think, by a very tiny developer back when the Apple Watch first came out. There is a tiny secret port in the Apple Watch within the watch band area, and it kind of looks like the SIM tray of an iPhone, but people have messed with this port, they've pulled it out, and you can apparently transfer power and data through it. So it's the Apple Watch's smart connector. But I think since then, Apple has denied access for third parties to use that port, so no company out there can actually make watch bands that have external batteries or require power, which is frustrating because Apple definitely doesn't do that with any of their watch bands. So clearly for a long time, they've had the idea of accessing power and data through that secret port, but they're not taking advantage of it. So hopefully with the Apple Watch Series 3, we'll finally get some watch bands that actually take advantage of it. And my first idea is, of course, an expandable battery. Now is a perfect time to introduce this smart battery band, more than ever, Apple, because of a couple reasons, actually. I have a few friends who still have the Gen 1 Apple Watch that came out on the first cycle of Apple Watches, so not the Series 2, not the Series 1 with the dual core, but the Series 0. They're actually having battery life problems now, because if you didn't know, lithium batteries lose their capacity as they are charged, used up, and charged again. When they're recharged ever so often, they're not as able to hold as big a charge, as in they lose 10%, and as time goes on, they'll lose 15 and 20%. And you notice this a little bit with older iPhones, but because their milliamps are in the 2,000 to 3,000 range, they're still pretty usable. Your battery life may drop from 8 to 7 hours or 6 to 5, so they're semi-usable, but it kind of sucks that the battery life drops. Since these Apple Watches batteries are so drastically low, as in 300 milliamps, not even close to 1,000, it means that as you own an Apple Watch for 3 to 4 years, the battery life starts shrinking, and once you have an Apple Watch with a battery life of 11 to 12 hours, it becomes hard to close all your activity rings. Like my girlfriend has the first generation Apple Watch that I used, and she notices that it has to charge every time she gets home before she goes to bed, or else it'll just die. I'm not blaming Apple for this because this is simple physics. There's not really an easy way to correct this battery life capacity problem. People love their Apple Watch, they use them on a day-to-day basis, and when you charge them and recharge them so many times, the simple fact of lithium batteries is that they cannot hold their charge over that amount of time. However, if we started introducing these smart battery bands, hopefully using that secret port that is still on every Apple Watch today, these probably higher priced watch bands could replenish your battery life. I don't know by how much, but Apple's gonna have to try to find a good middle ground between how much battery power you can store in that Apple Watch band. Can that watch band be very flexible? Probably not. And of course, this needs to have the ability to charge with the Apple Watch. I don't think Apple's interested in making a watch band that you have to charge separately. No, it's going to act just like the smart battery case for the iPhone 7, where charging the battery case actually charges the phone too. So that when you place the Apple Watch on its charger, it charges the Apple Watch first, and then once the Apple Watch is fully charged, it starts outputting power to the watch bands, and then your battery life will be restored to what it originally was. Or if you just got an Apple Watch, hopefully that battery battery can make your watch last 4 to 5 days. Who doesn't want more battery life? But of course, my next idea is something we actually have heard rumors for, and because that secret port can transfer data as well as power, it'd be really great to see an Apple Watch band that uses special sensors that beam light into your wrists and can actually view your glucose levels. No, this isn't made up. They actually have scientific patents that Apple is passing to try to monitor your blood sugar levels using just light, so that there's no pricking involved, no needles, no nothing checking like that. But I'm sure that they are in the R&D department right now working very hard to see how accurate they can monitor your glucose levels. That way diabetics out there won't have to keep stabbing themselves every day, and they'll have an Apple Watch with a glucose monitor built into it. Apple's already working with third-party developers that have hardware that can monitor your blood sugar levels, and to actually build this into a smart band that just has sensors so that it can measure your blood from different angles. And I think it's because Apple acknowledges that not everyone is a diabetic, so it wouldn't make sense to embed these sensors into the Apple Watch where there's so little space to add more stuff. It makes sense that you would only have diabetics buy bands that they needed, and everyone else doesn't need that, so they wouldn't have to pay for it. So I'm anticipating that the Apple Watch Series 3 is not going to look very different. If it is, it's going to be minor display improvements. I doubt that they'll actually make the new Apple Watch thinner, because I think they're realizing they have this lithium battery problem, and they realize they need to make sure the battery is as big as possible in these Apple Watches so that they can last years and years and years, which means that there is very little room for more stuff and very little things they can remove to make it thinner. However, I think the big appeal for the Series 3 is going to be these really smart watch bands that I've talked about today. I hope Apple does at least some of those. Let me know all your ideas for Apple Watch bands in the comments below. Please don't say a camera, okay? I know what you're thinking. No, we don't need a camera on the Apple Watch. You're all just gonna comment it anyway, just to make fun of me. Okay. I see how it is. Whatever. I don't care. I'm in San Diego right now, so probably not even reading these comments. Suckers! This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.